Shout out Beware. What up, though? And it's your favorite Pistons podcast, Pro Wrestling Talk for the Pistons fan. Want to find out more about our show, like where to order our official t-shirt or how to follow us on social media? Visit our Linktree /PWTPF. That's linktr.ee/PWTPF. And thanks to our premier sponsor, ticket-barter.com. See you at the seats. I was waiting for somebody to invite me on their podcast and say, hey man, let's talk about Rodzilla, man. And no, I don't get no burn. Playing it back, that's some pompous stuff to say. I thought somebody wanted me on their show. Don't you know who I am? And it's like, that's pompous as hell. But I did think somebody would be like, hey, let me, I can't. Sometimes in your head, you're bigger than what you are, Paul. I alluded to this the last episode. For the small fee of what, like $150? Something like that. You can meet Dennis Rodman at WWE World in Vegas. But that's not an option for me because he ain't going to be there on the day I'm going. I'm going on Thursday. That's the cheapest day. I'm cheap. No, I'm not cheap. I'm efficient. Plus, the lines be crazy. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We went to WWE World twice last year. So we went on Thursday. Wasn't nobody in there. We were just like, la, 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 like running around, taking pictures. And then, who was it? Cayenne was like, yo, let's go back up there on Friday. I can't remember, I don't know, something was going on. We back up there Friday. It was packed. I'm talking about off the hinges. And I put this in the podcast because we had met the dude working security on Thursday. And he was like, yeah, I'm from Detroit. He was like, I noticed you because you had on the Tigers hat. I was like, oh, okay. Cool. So we saw him and I'm like, yo, fam, just let us cut there. He's like, I can't even do nothing, fam. I'm like, but back to Dennis Rodman. Shout out to moms. This is one of my mom's favorite players to watch play. She would always say I don't know much about him, but I love to see him play. And you just watch Dennis Rodman highlights. You're like, goodness gracious, this guy had a battery on him. He is the perfect example of why you got to throw stats out the window. He could literally control a game without making any statistical significance, at all. You know, the classic Rodman. He get pushed, he flop, he does a flip. Oh, come on. The other guy gets attacked and everybody go crazy. Yeah, Dennis Rodman. The deflections, you know what I'm saying? He deflects it to the point guard. You know, he doesn't get the rebound, but he hits the rebound out to the small forward. Those things, and he does it in an exciting fashion. Or my favorite part, the saves. You know what I mean? Like this is textbook basketball, okay? All right, this is like if your guy hits the ball out, you go chase it, try to save it, try to stop it from. He has that iconic billboard when he was with Converse, just full extension, just stretched out, hella pause right there. But he had your back. If you accidentally was knocking the ball out of bounds, he was like, I got it. I like when he was in Detroit and he was getting so many rebounds or he broke his hand or something. And he was out there literally in MMA gloves. If you look it up and they matched the uniform, I don't know why he was wearing those gloves, but I thought he was I'm the rebound master. That's what I thought. But I think he had a chip bone in his hand or something. But they look just like the UFC gloves of today on both hands. Just energy personified. And it just cascaded out into the audience, the other player, and then he could guard basically 1 through 5. He guarded Shaq and was a headache for Shaq. And then all of that would be in a 3-minute phase. You know what I mean? The crowd is up. They're like, oh man, Dennis is just taking over. What did he do? You had to be there, right? And don't let it just the cherry on the sundae would just be the alley-oop, like the tip dunk or something. All he got is 2 points and he done took over the game, right? I like the Dennis Rodman block where he just take it out there. Just give me that. I'm not even blocking that. Just take it. Give me that. I always say if you enjoy watching Troy Polamalu play for the Pittsburgh Steelers or Ray Lewis for the Ravens, that's Dennis Rodman. Just everywhere. Just in everything. Just everywhere. Severely underrated basketball IQ. Probably one of the smartest players to ever play. And I'm a down on that hill. I think about this. Michael Jordan was like, yes, I want Dennis Rodman on my team. Pause. I don't like him, but I ain't no fool. You know what I'm saying? I ain't crazy. To get rebounds at the volume that he got them, you can't be stupid, right? You can't just be Ray Lewis. I'm just everywhere. You have to be on certain sides of the court. You have to follow the ball. You know what I'm saying? Severely underrated. And everybody that plays with him tells you this. From a style perspective, was he one of the first? Just make it blind up top. Just blind it. Just blind it out. You know, shave the sides. And just go hawk an animal at the top. What a rush. Think about that. He was out there with David Robinson, like Mr. Military, all square. I gotta get my hair cut right. Like, just shave the sides, bleach it. And before that, he was in Detroit. He was always getting stuff cut in the back of his head, like, Bad Boys back to back. You're like, Dennis got a whole paragraph in the back of it. Who's doing that? We love you, Coach Daly. Like, wow, and I can see it from my television. Dennis bleached his hair so much, or bleached, colored. Like, in NBA Jam, every single quarter, if you played with him, every quarter his hair was different. It's just every quarter. They put it in a video game. Severely underrated shoe catalog. He had the contract with Nike, so he had the Indestructs. Always, he was the first to have the Nike sign backwards. Like these kids with Travis Scott, I'm like, these are just enlarged. These are like fake Dennis Rodmans. That's what I said when I first saw him. Dennis had a signature shoe. Like they laced up on the side. Like I never had a pair, but they laced up on the medial part of the shoe. The great part about them was, as soon as you saw them, you knew those gotta be the Dennis Rodmans. It just fit his personality so well. The first ones with the Nike sign going backwards and the lace up on the side, like you just knew right away that those gotta be the Rodmans. Those them. Then he went to Converse. In the latter part of his Bulls career. And the Converse were straight to, even, again, the designers that are good at, when you saw him, you was like, those gotta be the Rodmans. They gotta be them. Now, when he was with the Pistons, I swear at one moment, like, all the Pistons wore Asics, it seemed like at one point. But Dennis Rodman was with Reebok for a little bit. I remember the Dominique commercial, and now I look up on YouTube, and clearly Rodman had a commercial, but I don't remember this one. Hey, you need to pump up and air out. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, they had Rodman with the pump up and air out. Take that, Nike. We can just pump up our tongue. You gotta have a whole little screwdriver tool to pump up your shoe. Ooh, Gen Z gonna jump on me for that one. I said, the Travis Scotts look like some fake Rodmans. That's what I thought. I was like, I did. See, when you talking to an OG, I didn't jump into sneakers 5 years ago, 6 years. Like, I lived this. I lived it.
Hi, my name's Matt, and I'm a Pistons fan, but I'm also a pro wrestling fan. Now let me tell you about a perfect little podcast that combines those two things in just the right amounts. It's called Pro Wrestling Talk for Pistons fans. Oh, what's that? Hold on, I got somebody who might be able to do this better. He wants the microphone, as usual. Now you listen here to me, Daddy. It ain't a hard time for me to tell you about the American dream. Having a podcast where you can listen to pro wrestling talk and Pistons talk at the same time. At the same time, Daddy, let me tell you about pro wrestling talk for Pistons fans. It ain't a hard time for you to download, listen, and subscribe.
This society, this Western part of the world, America, if you see things differently, you're gonna have issues, right? Like even if you don't, it's not necessarily illegal, right? Like if you just decide one day, I just want to walk backwards, right? Like they're gonna find a way to take you to court. And I know you may say, who is they? I'm talking about they. You know who they is. From a visual and narrative aspect, of course, The Last Dance, they detailed Dennis Rodman relatively well, but then he has the book, the Bad as I Want to Be, or what is it? Bad as Bad Can Be. I hate to say it, but the one where he's sitting on a motorcycle, pause. That book is still referenced when you just want to find out a lot about Dennis Rodman, right? Like just about his background and things like that. But that's not why we're here today. When I see Dennis, I see definitely one of my favorite players of all time. I see someone, I don't know, I would say they give you their all, right? But then you don't know when they work you a little bit, right? Because he got into wrestling, which we're going to get to eventually. So you're like, I know he's giving me all my, his all. He's being sincere. He's being honest. You see Dennis Rodman cry. You see Dennis Rodman, literally tell you things about himself that he probably shouldn't tell you. But then you're like, what part of that was a work? I think he's working me a little bit. Pause. Look up when Dennis Rodman gets some Yeezys, either V1s or V2s or something like that, and he just rips into the box. Look how he rip. That's a work. Dennis Rodman know good and hell well you don't open up a shoebox like that, but it's a work, right? And I've watched Dennis for so long, I've never met him, anything like that. I'm just saying, I appreciate the guy, right? Hey, look at the video. He starts to open the box, right? And then it's kind of oh, let me just ramp up the views for no reason. Let me just rip into this box. So Dennis Rodman will definitely be the first Piston to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. Perfect for this show, right? And he goes in the same year as my favorite wrestler ever, Bad News Brown. Hashtag no relation. So we all know by now, there was the Monday Night Wars, brother. WCW. We used to, when we were younger, call it We Can't Win Wrestling. No, in all seriousness, we had WCW Wrestling, where the big boys play. Hello, Paul's right there. And they wanted to take out and end the company that had run amok on the industry for over 50, 75 years. The WWF, known to you today as the WWE. And they pretty much were owned by a billionaire who was like, do whatever you gotta do. You've seen it straight from his own mouth, Ted Turner. I want to be Vince McMahon. So Eric Bischoff is just coming up with ideas, probably throwing spaghetti at the wall. He brings in Master P for a little bit. And Master P, his bodyguard, wanted to be a wrestler. And I have a whole episode about that. Shout out to Master P. Hootie hoo! But at the time, it was smart. Master P was selling a lot of records. So he figured, hey, bring that fan base over. And it does work. I'm not never mad at a tactic like that, right? I just hate when it's constantly just caked on, right? That's how I got into the UFC really big, because Brock went over there, and then I was like, okay, I kind of like this stuff. And now I'm a big UFC fan. So I'm not hate. So at that time, no social media. I hate when people say there's no social media. There were AOL chat rooms. There were message boards. It wasn't this real time, up to date, 24/7, laying in your bed, checking your Twitter, checking the gram, checking your threads. Dennis Rodman, if you were going to pick someone to come from pop culture into wrestling, this was the guy to do. He had the blonde hair. He was a disruptor. He knew he was talented. And he knew that he was playing with the best player in the world. And with his superpowers, Michael Jordan's superpowers, Scottie Pippen, the greatest role player of all time, Tony Kukoc, the one of the best foreign players. He's like, I ain't really got to practice. I can use my free time to wrestle. Those aren't his words. Those are just mine. As an observer, I was just like, okay, maybe he'll do that. And now, this would never happen in a million years. These guys that are in the NBA, they can't do anything but play on the NBA court. Absolutely nothing. What was it? Jaylen Brown wanted to play in the Big Three All-Star game. And I heard he had to jump through all kind of hoops just to do that. I think there's still paperwork that needs to be signed about that. And Chicago played Utah twice in the finals. Did they play them twice? Because they beat the first three-peat, they beat the Lakers, they beat Portland, and they beat Phoenix. And the second time, I think it was Seattle, and then it was friggin' Utah and Utah. Is that right? Did I get that right? I was thoroughly pissed when they beat the Seattle Supersonics. That was my squad. Nate McMillan, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Detlef Shrimp, Sleepy Slam, Sleepy. Sam Perkins, I called him Slam Perkins. Anyway, back to Dennis Rodman. So Dennis Rodman, I think he did his movie. Was it Meteor Man Tag Team? Was it Double Team? So what? Let me pull up Dennis Rodman IMDb. What is it? Yeah, it was Double Team with the guy Jean-Claude Van Damme. Remember, he did Bloodsport. Yes. I never saw this movie, but if I was a bad man, I would say it was bad just from the poster. You know how people say you can't judge a book by its cover? Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Shout out to Eric Bischoff for birthing Rodzilla. The NWO was so big that Dennis Rodman was in it. Think about that. They had NWO Japan, and on the state side, they had a hooper representing NWO in the NBA. Think about that. We all over the place, baby. That's the definition of we like shattered glass. All over the place and hard to clean up. As I mentioned, I forgot to say this when I was talking about Master P was in WCW. Jay Leno was in WCW too. Yes, Jay Leno was in the main event. So they were no stranger to this. The beauty of Rodman and Malone was they set it up in the NBA finals. Literally, not just a basketball game. No. In the finals, they do. This ain't no we walking in the arena, hey, let's flip the bird. No, literally, Game 6 NBA Finals, Rodman and Malone on the court, throwing each other shoulder bumps, right? And this is why I'll never respect Bob Costas, and I'll tell this to his face. when Rodman and Malone were jockeying for position, elbowing each other, they're like, oh, they're supposed to do a wrestling match in a couple months. Why Malone would lower himself? No. If Karl Malone is anywhere in Dennis Rodman's vicinity, Dennis Rodman is raising up Karl Malone. And if Bob Costas had been offered the type of money that Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman were getting to wrestle, play fight or shoot fight, whatever you want to call it in WCW, then it wouldn't have been lowering himself. Then we're going to have a good time. Call it what it is. Don't act clueless. Oh, they're supposed to do some red. No, Bash at the Beach next month. Karl Malone versus Dennis Rodman with Diamond Dallas Page in their corner. That's why when they talk about the NBC era, I like everybody except Bob Costas. I like Matt Gumble. Was Matt Gumble on there? I don't even know Matt Gumble. Pete Vesey. Shout out to Pete Vesey. And shout out to David Aldrich. I don't know what goes into becoming a WWE Hall of Famer, but I do know that it is pretty dope. Like when Kobe got that Oscar, I think that's going to be pretty dope. NBA Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame, Defensive Player of the Year. His trophy case is diverse. It's diverse. New York Times bestseller. But one of the reasons, and I don't know, because the WWE Hall of Fame is not a real place. It's not. It's just an event that happens every year. They keep a list. The WWE Hall of Fame is a list. That's what the WWE Hall of Fame is. But Rodman, unlike Karl Malone, he just didn't do it, or in Jay Leno and Master P. He didn't do like a one-off or a month off or anything like that. He was like an ongoing character in WCW for an extended amount of time. And I mean, that's pretty dope. While he was open, and selling fights in NBA Finals games. So, hey, shout out, man. Detroit basketball for life. We clinched the #1 seed today. Tony D'Angelo got the NXT title. Well deserved. So much more other stuff, man. I will see y'all somewhere. Happy Easter.